Shabbat shalom, my friends. Well, this is a busy week. Our combined Sedras, two Sedras this week, Matot and Masei, beginning with Numbers chapter 30, verse 2 and following. These are the very last chapters in the book of Numbers. Next week, we start chapter 1, verse 1 of the book of Deuteronomy, moving on to a completion of the cycle of Torah study so we can start again. But today we have to do a SIYYUM, a traditional ceremony of completion. Let's go back a bit. The very last verses of Masei tell us of the happy ending of the story of the 5 daughters of Tzalafchad who fought successfully for the right to inherit their deceased father's possessions. Our text tells us that with God's approval, the women chose to marry their first cousins. And because they married first cousins, not only did they inherit, but their property, their father's property, would stay within the family tribe. It is a real, all too rare, win-win situation. So then, we have these final words from the book of Numbers. These are the commandments and the regulations that the Eternal enjoined upon the Israelites through Moses on the steppes of Moab at the Jordan near Jericho. Eile hamitzvot v'mishpatim asher tziva Adonai biad Moshe el bnei Israel barvot Moab al Yarden Yericho. And then what do we say? Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. Let us be strong. Let us be strong. Let us strengthen one another. That's what we say at the end of the study of each of the books. At this point, traditionally, of course, Eastern European, traditionally, pickled herring, lox, bagels, ragala, hummus, other traditional delicacies are to be consumed, preceded by the appropriate blessings. And I do want to mention slivovitz, because plum brandy has always been part of my SIYYUM observance. So now that we've done our SIYYUM and had our snack, we can turn our attention to the second of the two Sedras, Masei. Masei, the word itself, means journeys. These are the Masei. These are the journeys of Bnei Israel as they started out from the land of Egypt in the charge of Moses and Aaron. This text, my friends, is a values-driven travelogue. We went from place to place. At some of the stations over the course of 40 years, this and that happened to us, but everything was in fulfillment of the intentions of God. Now, sidebar, during the summer, I have the privilege to study alongside select Hebrew Union College students. I love interacting with the students, and I equally love the opportunity to study with some of the really great scholars of our movement. On Thursday, the dean of HUCLA, Dr. Joshua Holo, was teaching. Now, Dr. Holo not only is a special friend, and he is that, and not only is he brilliant, he is that, but he also has an incredible vocabulary. So on Thursday this week, I learned the word toponym. I had never heard the word before. Have any of you ever heard the word toponym? This is what Google quietly told me as the lecture continued on. Quote, words beginning with topo, T-O-P-O, usually have to do with places like a topological map. Words ending in N-Y-M, toponym, are types of names. A toponym, therefore, is a name for a place. Wherever you live, its name is a toponym. United States, North America, Atlanta, California, Worcester, all are toponyms. Even names of made-up places like Narnia and Atlantis are toponyms. So my hometown of Cleveland is a toponym named after a gentleman named Moses Cleveland, who, by the way, apparently spelled his name the wrong way. I can now cautiously state that our Sedra is filled with toponyms, though I had never known that before. And many of those names reflected incidents in the Exodus journey. Mara, a place of bitter dispute. Elim, a place of 70 palm trees. Kivrotava, grave sites brought about by lust. These are the journeys, Masei, these are the journeys of our people, station by station, over 40 years. Journeys, places, names, events. Rabbi Yitz Greenberg shapes this listing of place names into a rich and powerful message. The Israelites burst out of Egypt with joy and limitless expectations, freedom, release, redemption, covenant, heading to a land of their own, with a leader, actually three, Moses, Aaron, Miriam, selected by God, rituals to lessen the gap between ourselves and God. Okay, a journey mandated by God, a new life waiting just beyond the horizon, when we finally will be able to enter the land of milk and date honey. But at so many stations along the way, life happened to our people. Enemies attacked, food was scarce, crushing despair often set in. They weren't really ready for autonomous decision-making, these former slaves. Rebellion, sin, death, challenges to leadership, thirst, fear, sickness. Who needed all of those toponyms reminding us of 40 years of our failures? Wouldn't it have been enough to say, hey, we left Egypt, we met God at Sinai and there received the Torah, and now at the beginning of the book of Deuteronomy, next week, we're ready to enter the land and to lay claim to our heritage and to our destiny. Wouldn't that have been enough? Our journey through life is never a simple matter. I said it before. Life happens. You know what is meant by that very common phrase. Wins and losses, friends and enemies, fulfillments and failures, the joy of witnessing that we are growing up, the pain of witnessing what it takes to grow up. Every step along the way needs to be owned by us. And that's why each of the stations of the Exodus journey was listed name by name, toponym by toponym. Yitz Greenberg wants us to know that we don't live with just our final achievements. We don't get to here without first being there. So our Sedra is expanding our vision. We are here. We managed to make it to here. Or are we still stuck there? Our people is here. We managed to make it to here. But sometimes we can't escape there. Our intentions were good, but sometimes good intentions are not enough. The promises that we felt that we carried with us sometimes turned out to be nothing but empty promises. And the promises that we carried with us sometimes turned out to be much less than we actually received, more than we ever had dreamt possible. That's what real journeys in life are all about. The journey to nurture a family, the journey to find personal fulfillment, the journey to make a difference, the journey to enhance the good and to push back against the evil, the journey to be remembered, the journey not to be forgotten. I want to end with a quotation from a non-canonical book, one that, despite its great wisdom, never made it into the sacred canon. The book is entitled, "Oh, the Places You'll Go." You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You're on your own. And you are the guy who will decide where to go. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't. Because sometimes you won't. But will you succeed? Yes, 99.75% guaranteed. And then Dr. Seuss ends with this statement, which is a great way to end the book of Numbers. Kid, you will move mountains. These are the journeys of the children of Israel from Egypt to the Promised Land. See you next week. Shabbat Shalom, Deuteronomy. Finish all the snacks. Have a great week.